welcome to Research Bites, your daily dose of science news. If I were to ask you if we should grow more forests, what would you say? Typically, I'd get a response along the lines of course, forests help fight global warming, or forests harbor life. But contrary to this popular belief, growing artificial forests that will replace the existing landscape is not always the best choice. I know, it seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But artificial forests may sometimes do more harm than good. In a study that was published in the journal Biological Conservation, researchers traced some of these misinformed decisions. They looked at when the British tried to grow forests in the shola grassland landscapes of the Nilgiris. Grasslands are natural landscapes that are dominated by grasses instead of shrubs or trees. They are a completely unique ecosystem that supports a large diversity of plants and animals. Some are even endemic. The shola grassland mosaic is made up of stunted tropical trees called sholas amidst rolling grasslands. They are found in the higher elevations of the Nilgiris in South India and are believed to have existed for over 20,000 years. But in the recent century, human interventions have caused severe ecological damage to this landscape. The research traced the history of these grasslands through historical records and literature from the colonial period. They found that the colonial forest officials introduced more than 40 alien species like the acacia, pine, silver oak and eucalyptus to the Nilgiri plateau, planting them from the 1820s to 1937. By the year 1950, 4,500 acres in the Nilgiris were under plantation. The researchers presume that the British loved this landscape because it reminded them of their homeland. That's why they wanted to settle in the Nilgiris, and once they did, they thought that the grasslands were a degraded ecosystem. This led to the idea that the grasslands needed to be converted back to tree-clad forests. But actually it was the timber and firewood for these settlements that was the big reason why they wanted to plant economically important species over the native ones. The study also notes how the colonial foresters tried to regulate the natural landscape in the name of scientific forestry or conservation. But it's not only the colonial foresters who are to blame. Independent India was none the wiser. By the end of the 20th century, about 32,500 acres of the shola grasslands were under plantation. Today, these grasslands act as a prelude to the fate of other grasslands that remain. The case of the shola grasslands is not a peculiar one, but one of the many examples of how unscientific assumptions have threatened the existence of entire ecosystems. Even after 2 centuries, most policymakers and forest managers still treat grasslands as degraded ecosystems and introduce alien invasive species. Perhaps now the time is right to let go of these long-held and outdated misconceptions before more damage is done. Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Research Matters, a SciComm initiative by Gubi Labs. For more science-based stories, podcasts and news, log on to our website www.researchmatters.in.